All right, take two. Good morning, everybody. So, if you're just logging in, I was so eager to teach this morning that I started at 8. So, that's what all that video has been up until now. So, thank you for maybe rearranging the video a little bit so you can start. And we all practice at the same time together, even though we're not in person. We can sense each other's energy and know that we're practicing with a community. So I waited till 8:30 so we can all practice together. So hopefully you got a little laugh in when I realized. So hopefully you skipped past all of that so we can start together now. Okay. So once again, namaste. And we'll just start from the very beginning, even if you did watch my first take. We'll start again. So I'd like you to find a comfortable position on the floor. Now, I really highly recommend sitting on a blanket that's been folded, or a yoga bolster, or a pillow, or anything that'll be a comfortable way to just prop your hips up a little bit. It'll feel much better. At first you might be like, oh, I'm fine. I'm just sitting on the floor, but after 5-10 minutes, oftentimes the bolster or blanket can really help keep our backs comfortable. So take your time to gather any props that you'd like to have throughout the class. Blocks are fantastic. The class that I planned doesn't rely on a lot of props because we all have access at our homes to different things. But if you have a block, you might like to use it during the class. Okay, thank you for the feedback, Prasad. I'm glad you all can hear me and see me. Great. So as I was mentioning earlier, if you once again watched my first take, we'll be focusing today on what's inside. So it is a gorgeous day. The sun's shining, the birds are chirping. So if you realize that your attention has gone elsewhere, that's okay. And that's totally fine. It's all good. I'd also like to invite you to take a look within today by just stopping, pausing. Right? There's a story that there's a man on a horse speeding by, very fast, and a bystander says, "Where are you going?" And the guy on the horse says, "I don't know, ask the horse." So, oftentimes that's our minds. It's just going and going, and we almost have no control, seemingly, over where we're going. So, yoga, asanas, the physical practice, are interesting because there's movement involved, which our brains really enjoy, actually, kind of having that repetition and something to focus on. But it also allows us to shut out the external and go within. So throughout the physical asana practice, I invite you to try and stay aware of what's going on in your body. So we start out with the best intentions, doing some deep breathing, and then sometimes about halfway through we might start thinking, like, oh, this is really challenging, or oh, I'm getting really hungry for breakfast. which is, it's fine. You know, that's human nature. And so I invite you to try and stay aware of the fact that that is human nature and notice when those things are happening and just gently guide yourself back. So I'd like you to begin by placing one hand on your belly and another hand on your heart. And it's a little odd, but you can take the hand that's on your belly and just make some soft clockwise circles. No pressure, just like a gentle circular motion. And this can help calm us. It can even help stimulate digestion by bringing a little blood flow. We're not pressing here, we're just gently making some circles like you might with a baby or maybe a pet, just soothing ourselves. And then you can continue to make those circles if you enjoy it and it feels good, or you can let your hand be still. Just taking this opportunity to pause before you even start to alter your breath or, notice your posture, just pausing. No assumptions, no preconceived ideas of what we're about to do. It can be challenging. So I'd like to walk you through a very simple technique that's adapted from Buddhist practice and Buddhist philosophy. It's practiced by monks all over the world, and it's been adopted by modern psychology and the mindfulness movement because it's so effective and so important. And you can remember this technique by the acronym RAIN, which in itself is kind of beautiful. I think of rain as so cleansing. And so the R is recognize. So this is when you stop and you recognize what's going on inside of your body and inside of your mind. So take a moment to observe. Could be a physical sensation that you're most aware of. Maybe your stomach's grumbling, or maybe you're still feeling a little stiff. Or it might be something in your mind. Maybe you are really just wanting to go outside and garden right now. You're fighting to stay in and do yoga. Or maybe you woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Or maybe you're feeling just, fantastic where you are. That's great. If you'd like to practice this RAIN technique, you can bring your mind to something that maybe you found in the past few days or few weeks that you kind of needed to work through. Maybe somewhat of a struggle or something that didn't feel right in your body. So you can bring that to mind if you'd like to practice along. So recognizing, and the key is to do this non-judgmentally. So for people who might experience chronic pain or, just oftentimes we can be hard on ourselves. Or as soon as we notice anything that might be wrong, it's just like, oh, why is this happening? Why am I like this? Why is my body like this? And getting towards not doing that is so important. So one way to think of this is to treat these thoughts that arise when you recognize, to treat yourself and to treat the thoughts in your body like you would a loving friend or a family member. You would never get on them about things. You would treat it with kindness and acceptance. to ourselves to be our friends and to comfort ourselves when things arise. So it's not easy. But so the key here is recognizing non-judgmentally. So just noticing what comes up as you look within. And the second step, which is my favorite, it's beautiful and so effective, is to allow. So the A in rain is allow. So as I mentioned before, we do tend to kind of try to push these things away. Like either just like pretend they're not happening or get really critical. And what would happen if we said, I consent, I allow this to be this way right now, or this belongs to. So a psychologist and philosopher and mindfulness teacher that I really love, who you may have heard of, is Tara Brach. And she related this step to improv. In improv, a common technique is to say yes and. So the conversation keeps going, yes and. And so when we notice these things that might not be comfortable inside us, what if we said, yes, this belongs, this is okay, and, often we focus on the one thing that's, maybe bothering us the most. And if we allow it and then move on, we realize that there is this whole bunch of more things that we can enjoy or experience. And so by allowing, we make a little bit more space for all the things, all the feelings, all the sensations that are going on inside of us. Allow. Thich Nhat Hanh, who's also a Buddhist philosopher, he says to hold your fear like you would a child. And he doesn't mean to coddle it and to nurture that fear and grow it more. What he means is to instead of trying to push it away, say it's okay. Treat it with love, treat it with kindness. And sometimes by allowing, accepting, and showing a little bit of love to that space, it doesn't become so scary, it doesn't become so big. So, once again, bringing yourself in and seeing what you can allow, what you can make space for. The I of rain is investigate. So we won't get too much into this today. So investigating, to put it concisely, is, what is the root cause of how I'm feeling? So if it's a physical pain, it could be a little more obvious what the root cause is. But with emotional and psychic pain, it's sometimes difficult to get down to it, and it can be a long process. Sometimes it might involve the help of others. Other times, meditating can help us. But through investigation, we get to get in touch with what the root cause is. Oftentimes, it's our attachments, right? And that's what we learn when we read books on yoga, Buddhism, Hinduism, lots of different religions and theories talk about our attachments cause us pain. You've likely heard this before in a yoga class. So sometimes, if you don't want to get too into it right now, you can say, what kinds of attachments are causing me to feel this way? Or another way to put it is, what are my unmet needs right now? And that can be a really simple way of kind of getting to the root of the situation. And finally, the N in RAIN stands for neutral awareness, or how I like to put it is non-attachment. So we just stopped, recognized, we made some space for the feelings that are going on inside of us. And we took a moment to investigate and get to the root of the problem, or begin to. And by not attaching to these emotions or these things that are going on inside of us, we recognize that we are so much bigger than those things, right? We're not attaching to them because what we dwell on and what we focus on is what we reinforce. So you are not, the body, you are not the mind. It's a common mantra you might hear. So if that resonates with you, that can be a mantra that you adopt. This can be a time to remind yourself that there is a divine being, a divine light within each and every one of us. If that's something that resonates with you, that's something you can focus on. Or you can simply take non-attachment for its very straightforward meaning. You can bring a little smile to the corners of your mouth. Take a deep inhale in. Fill up your belly, fill up your abdomen, fill up your chest. And as you exhale, open your mouth. Release anything that's not serving you right now. A few more deep inhales in. Feeling free to exhale through your mouth or out your nose, whatever feels right to you. And before we begin the asanas, as you breathe, I'd like you to also become aware of any positive or neutral feelings in your body. So we just walked through this exercise where we kind of try to deal with anything that might not be feeling good right now, right? Try to move past that before we begin our practice. But so often, again, we focus on those negative things. I'd like to encourage you, can you see if you can bring your attention to some positive feelings or maybe neutral feelings within your body? And it could be the cool, refreshing air entering through your nostrils. Could be the temperature of the air on your skin. Could be the thought that you have a peaceful, relaxing weekend ahead of you. So whatever it is, allow yourself to smile, your eyes to smile. And take this time to reaffirm a intention for class. So I invited you at the beginning to set an intention to bring yourself back to your body, back to the present moment, continuously through class. So you can focus on that intention or if you have any other intention for the class today. Take a few moments to let that intention manifest within your body. And we'll start to bring a little movement in. So if your foot was falling asleep or anything, feel free to switch the cross of your legs. And on an inhale, sweep your arms up. Keep your shoulders down and away from your ears and think about lengthening your spine. Exhale, push the walls away so you flip your palms around and push away, feeling a nice stretch through your arms and your hands. And do this a few more times, scooping up the air around you, reaching up, lengthening, but you're still keeping your shoulders down. Exhale, push the walls away. Go at your own pace here. This time as you sweep up, I'd like you to look over at the right side. Just look to the right side and feel a nice stretch there. And exhale, keep your neck turned and reach down. Let's see, bring your head back, forward, inhale, sweep up. Exhale to the left as you push your arms down and away. Inhale, sweep up, head comes back to neutral. Exhale, left hand comes to right knee, right hand comes behind you into a twist. And we'll stay here and breathe. So as you inhale, you might come gently out of the twist to allow more room to take a nice deep inhale, lengthening your spine. And as you exhale, maybe twist just a little bit more. Don't push it, don't force it. Remember, no preconceived expectations. Try not to think about what your body should be doing. Try to feel it. Stay in the moment. When you're ready to take another inhale, come back to center, reaching your arms up again, lengthening your spine. Exhale, twist to the other direction. Right hand will rest on your left knee. Left hand will just gently kickstand behind you, so you're not putting a lot of weight into your left hand. And allow your breath to help you enjoy this pose. So as you inhale, your spine is lengthening. You're allowing room to take in a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, maybe you want to look over your left shoulder. One more time. Inhaling your arms back up, coming back to center. And push your arms away. Bring your hands to your knees. And we'll start to make some torso rotations. So you can imagine as if you have maybe a crayon or a paintbrush attached to the top of your head, and you're making some big circles on the ceiling. Or feel free to kind of move past that visualization and close your eyes and move in a way here that feels good to you. So maybe you don't want to make perfect circles today. Maybe your body feels like you want to spend a little more time on one area. That's okay. This is your practice, and I invite you to customize it to fit your body's needs right now. So maybe it feels really good just to hang out kind of in this forward fold a little and just make a semicircle instead of a full circle. Feel free. Or maybe you get to the side and you're like, ooh, it feels good, I want to stretch. Feel free to do that as well. And when you're ready, coming back to the center, taking some seated cat-cows. So as you exhale, you'll round your spine, look down at your belly button. And when you're ready to inhale, open up your chest, shoulders squeeze back. They're like squeezing together in the back. And flow with your breath, exhaling into cat, inhaling into cow. And you can make these motions as big or as small as feels good to you. And when you're ready, bring your legs nice and wide. You can stay on the blanket, or it might feel right to you to set the blanket aside at this point. So in a wide-legged stance, I would like you to flex your feet. So first, just focus on flexing your feet and lengthening your spine. So, some of us are just waking up. Take a few breaths here, right? We don't want to go right into the next pose or make this more challenging if our bodies are still getting adjusted and acclimated to sitting in this position. So you can take the heel of your hand and gently massage the long muscles of your thighs. That might feel really good. And then bring your arms out to the sides, palms facing forward. Take a deep inhale in. And exhale, twist to the right. And then complete the exhale by reaching your left fingertips towards your right toes. Inhale back up. Take a full deep inhale in. Exhale, twist and reach. So continue to do this motion at your own pace. Reminding yourself to try and let that bend happen from your hips and not your spine or upper back. So you're not rounding to reach, you're leaning forward, hinging from your hips. So if your fingertips don't touch your toes, that's no problem. Feeling the energy moving through your feet, your legs, your core, abdominals, arms, fingertips. And finish up on the side that you need to finish up on so you're even. And then, let's see here, turn if you need to so that you can come into a boat position, and then we'll do some rocking and rolling. So why don't you make sure you're at the front of the mat so that you have some room to roll back onto in a few minutes. So start here with your soles of your feet on the mat. You can place your hands underneath your thighs to help you keep your back nice and straight. And you're probably feeling your core engage here as you lengthen your spine and sit up tall. If you want to make this more challenging, you can bring your shins to a parallel position with the mat. Make sure that your back stays tall, you're not rounding. If you want to add a little bit more, you can extend your arms. And if you want to make it even a little more challenging, you can extend your legs. So You can play with the different variations. You don't have to stick with one. Breathing. Keep your back tall. Keep your neck in a alignment with your spine. So notice where your neck is and see if you can keep that a neutral extension of your spine. And rest. All right, so we'll do some rocking and rolling. So you'll rock back, and then when you come to the front, you can just set your feet down if you'd like, or you can challenge yourself to stay in a boat position when you come back up. So it's just a little extra challenge for your core. So begin when you're ready. Make sure you're smiling. This is not a serious pose, so feel free to smile. And relax when you're ready. Extend your legs out and flex your feet. Once again, let your body acclimate to this posture before you move on. So go through your checks. Your feet should be flexed, your legs are gently engaged, so the muscles above your knees are gently engaging. Your core is active and your back is straight. Once again, notice your neck, is it jutting forward? And see if you can keep your neck, aligned with your spine. Sometimes thinking about lengthening from the very top of your head can help with that. Now, place your hands behind you, fingers pointing towards your toes. And start to lean back so your weight comes into your hands. Now make sure your fingers are spread really wide, and this will help to distribute the weight when we actually lift ourselves up onto our hands. So we're coming into a reverse plank. And when you're ready, you'll inhale, lifting your hips up. At this point, your hands should be about underneath your shoulders. So if you're not sure where your hands should be, you can come on down and look. And to start off, your hands will be a little behind your shoulders. So when you lift up, your hands come right underneath your shoulders. Breathing. Maybe on each inhale, lift just a little higher. Push up through your pelvis. And come on down with an exhale. Relax. We'll try that one more time. Coming up when you're ready. And relax. Good. All right, come all the way up to your knees. And for some of you who are here for a workout, for the physical practice, I know we're starting a little slow. I promise we're gonna get the energy moving. We'll do some challenging poses. This is gonna be a good workout too, so not to worry. So getting ready for gate pose. One leg comes out to the side. Your knee I'm starting with my right extended, so my left knee is directly underneath my right hip. So check to make sure that's the case for you. Your leg is extended out to the side and it's in line with your knee. Toes are just pointing forward, maybe a little to the side. Just do what feels natural for you. Let your hands slide down your leg and reach your arm up and over. And try to keep your torso facing forward. So it can be tempting to kind of rotate down here to reach our arm further. Keep yourself nice and open. And you're getting a good stretch through the left side of your body. Make sure you're breathing. Now, reversing this gate pose, your top hand will come all the way down and your right arm will reach up. Now, if this is too big of a stretch, you can take a block and you can rest your hand on a block. So flow with your breath here, flowing in and out of gate pose, and I guess you could call this reverse gate pose. I'm not sure if it has a name. And make sure you're using your core muscles to lift you. We don't want to use momentum to shoot ourselves up. So go nice and slow and be aware of how your body's working to lift you. And switching sides, nice and slow and gentle. If you were using that block, and place it on the other side. If you don't have a block and you don't have anything to rest on, but this is too low to the ground, you can simply take your hand to your hip and reach your arm over. So that's another gentler option for you. So setting yourselves up, just check briefly to make sure it looks good to you, and slide your hand down your leg, reaching your right arm up and over, and flowing at your own pace. You can choose to stay in one pose for a couple breaths if it feels really good, or you can match one breath per motion. One more time on each side. Bringing your left knee in, and then we're just going to come into hero's pose. So if this is really painful on your knees, you can just come all the way up, or a nice trick is to place a pillow or a folded blanket sandwiched between your shins and your thighs, and this just lifts your hips up a little and takes some of the pressure off of your knees. Reach your right arm up, bend at the elbow, and reach back for your left hand. So you're reaching your hands together. If your hands don't clasp, then you can use a strap, or you can simply grab onto your shirt, or if you have a belt, or even just using your blanket, just to have something to grab onto is fine. If you don't have a prop around, no problem. Just breathing and feeling the stretch. Don't strain or force your hands together. Breathe here. Keep your eyes open in this pose. This encourages blood flow to your face. It's going to just give yourself a nice complexion, brighten your eyes. So this is one pose where you might notice that you can't take as deep of a breath. The breath is more concentrated in your face and chest. And release. Shake it out if you need to, and switch sides. If you notice one side's a little different than the other, that's no problem. I don't think there's anyone that's perfectly symmetrical. So you're breathing, you're thinking about keeping your eyes open. I think Prasad calls this a natural facelift. And release. Taking a brief child's pose to stretch our hips. So separate your knees wide for this child's pose. Let your toes touching back, and then start to lower your chest down to the ground. Let your arms extend forward, and set your forehead on the mat. Take about 5 really deep inhales and exhales, inhaling into your belly. And as you feel your belly expand, you also feel your lower back expand and rise up towards the ceiling. When you exhale, notice that your hip bones just reach a little, your sit bones reach a little closer towards your heels. So with each inhale, you're lengthening your spine. You're creating more space in that lower back area and relaxing your lower back. And as you exhale, your sit bones slowly relax and release towards the ground. And this might not actually be happening physically right now. Maybe your hip bones are still feeling stiff. That's no problem. Visualizing these things can help you to actually manifest them. So just visualize your hips relaxing, your sit bones reaching closer towards the mat. Take 2 or 3 more deep inhales and exhales. What can you let go of here? What can you release? And when you're ready, after about 5 total inhales and exhales, come on up to hands and knees. And set your props away. Maybe you have a block or 2 handy. We're going to start coming into some more vinyasa flows in a moment. Starting in tabletop, your knees are under your hips and your hands are under your shoulders. If you have a family member around, you can ask them, if that's the case. Or you can just kind of take a look. Now set your elbows down where your hands were. So look where your hands are and set your elbows down there. All right? Interlace your hands together. Your fingers are interlacing. Tuck your toes under. And slowly start to lift your knees up. So this is dolphin. I'd like you to think again about squeezing your shoulder blades together. So try not to round your upper back. Try to keep it nice and straight. Reaching your tailbone towards the sky. And again, let your neck be an extension of your spine. So try not to, let it hang down. Try to keep it neutral. And you're not looking up either, right? Just a neutral extension here. Breathing, maybe see if you can reach your heels a little closer towards the ground. And knees come down. Coming back to a child's pose. Now we're going to come into a full down dog. So your palms are, not a child's pose, tabletop. And your hands are spread nice and wide, pressing into the mat. Tuck your toes under once again. And now coming into a down dog. That dolphin pose kind of prepped us without putting any pressure on our hands. So it's a really nice alternative to down dog if you have any wrist pain or hand pain. So feel free to just create a little movement here. Maybe reach one heel down as you bend the opposite knee. Sometimes call this walking the dog. Now flowing with our breath, on an inhale, you'll come forward and come into up dog. Keep your toes tucked under in this up dog, but make sure your legs are off the mat. Exhale, push back to down dog. Fold, exhale. Once again, inhaling, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Now inhale, coming just to plank here. Hold a nice straight plank. And then set your knees down. Your forearms down. Bring your chest down and your chin Lift your elbows up, but they're still squeezed into your sides. Now you'll slide forward into baby cobra. So we'll stay here in baby cobra for a couple of breaths. You can start with your forehead on the mat just to relax. And on an inhale, you'll rise up just using your back muscles. So your hands are pressing gently into the mat. Your feet are glued together. Your elbows are glued to your sides, and your shoulder blades are squeezing together. Make sure you don't use your head to guide you up, or don't crane your neck up. Keep your head, once again, a neutral extension of your spine, so you're likely looking down, or maybe just gently forward. Exhale, release. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, relax. Inhale one more time, lifting up. Nice and gentle. Now exhale, release. Push back to your knees. Tuck your toes under. And come back to down dog. So we're going to do those motions a couple of times today. So that's kind of our basic vinyasa flow. But we're going to add a lot more to it as we go on. So we'll keep things interesting. On an inhale, come to up dog. Exhale, down dog. Now from a down dog, take a nice deep inhale, and exhale, step your right foot forward into lunge. So continue to breathe as you maybe make some adjustments, maybe scoot your foot a little further forward if it didn't land right in front, help it move up, maybe readjust your back foot if needed. And then set your back knee down, set the back top of the foot down, and when you're ready, reaching up to a low crescent lunge. Breathing. See if you can relax your shoulders. And make sure your hips are parallel with one another. So notice, is your right hip a little farther forward than your back hip? Maybe you need to shift your right hip a little bit back and your left hip a little bit forward. Maybe you'll feel a deeper stretch in the left hip flexor as you do this. Bring your hands down when you're ready, and then walk your hands towards the back leg as you lift your front toes up. You're feeling a nice stretch in the right back of the leg. So keep your fingers kind of tented here so you can keep your spine lifted. If you're more flexible, maybe your palms reach the ground. Breathing. And walk your hands back forward. Tuck your back toes. Lift your knee up. Step back into plank. Hold it for 3, 2, 1. And push back to down dog. So we'll do both sides, one after another. Take a couple of breaths in down dog. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, step your left foot forward. Once again, make any adjustments that you would like to. And when you're ready, set your knee down and the top of the back foot down. Sweep your arms up on an inhale, coming into a low crescent lunge. And become aware of what's going on in your body. Where are you holding on to any tension? Pausing, noticing, allowing, investigating, and finally, what can you lose attachment to? What can you let go of? Hands come back down to the mat. And walk your hands towards the back wall. Left toes will come up, and you'll feel a stretch in the back of your left leg. Breathing, always breathing. Hands walk back to the front. Tuck your back toes under, lift your knee up, and step back into plank. Knees, forearms, chest and chin. Scoop your elbows up and slide forward into baby cobra. Staying here in baby cobra for a couple of breaths. You can stay in cobra, breathing, squeezing your shoulder blades together, or you can flow with your breath, relaxing on your exhales and lifting up to cobra on your inhales. Make sure your elbows are squeezed into your body and your feet are together. When you're ready, come back to your knees and back to down dog. From down dog, inhale to up dog. Exhale, down dog. Lift your right leg up so you're in a one-legged down dog here. Bend at the knee and open up. So your right hip will stack on top of your left, and you're looking under your right armpit at the right side of the room. Feeling a nice deep stretch in the right side of your body. Shifting back to one-legged down dog now. Deep inhale in. Exhale, bring your knee forward and step your foot through. Once again, set yourself up, maybe make any adjustments with your feet that you'd like to. And then this time we'll stay in a high lunge. So the heel of the back foot is up, your toes are tucked, so this is not warrior one, your heel's off the ground. With control, inhale, sweep all the way up. Breathing. Try it with your arms out to the sides. And bring your arms all the way back and interlace them behind you, taking a stretch, opening up your chest. Hands come back to the sides and all the way up. One more deep inhale in. Hands come back down to the mat and step back into plank. Hold it for 3, 2, 1, and push back to down dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up and bend at the knee, stacking your left hip on top of your right, gazing under your left armpit, feeling a nice deep stretch in the left side of your body. Back to one-legged down dog. Hips are now both facing the mat. Inhale deeply and exhale. Left foot comes forward. Adjust your feet as needed. And when you're ready, inhale, sweep your upper torso and arms up. Breathing. Arms open out to the sides. This is a very surrendering pose. Hands interlaced behind you. Open up your chest. Hands back to the sides. And reaching up. Full deep inhale. Exhale, hands come to the mat. Step back into plank. And you can ashtanga or chaturanga down. So you can use forearms, chest, chin. Or you can simply bend your elbows and slowly lower yourself to the ground. Ending in baby cobra. Breathing here in baby cobra. A little bit of a rest, a breather, allowing us to catch our breath. Tuck your toes, push back to your knees, and push back to down dog. see, I'm just thinking what I want to do next. You can hang out in down dog for a couple of breaths. Okay, awesome. So from down dog, we have to do our up dog. Inhale into up dog. Exhale, down dog. Lift your right leg up towards the sky. Bend at the knee. Open up once again. And this time, if you'd like to, you can shift to wild thing. So you'll be supporting yourself with your left hand and your left foot. Your right toe will gently touch the mat or the floor on the other side of you, and your right arm reaches up, opening up. Stay there for a couple of breaths, and come back whenever you're ready to a one-legged down dog. Exhale, bring your knee forward, but don't let your foot touch the mat. Inhale, back to one-legged down dog. Exhale, knee pumps forward. Inhale, one-legged down dog. One more time. Inhale, this is like exhale, this is like a crunch. Inhale, one-legged down dog. Now step your right foot all the way forward. Adjust your feet as needed. And when you're ready, sweep your arms up. Back to that high lunge. Adding a little bit of a twist and an extra core workout to this. You're going to take your right hand, you're going to turn to the right and tap the back of your left leg with your right hand. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twist and tap. Inhale back to center. One more time. And as you exhale, hands come back to the mat. Step back into plank. Hold it for 3, 2, 1. Push back into down dog. Left leg reaches up, bends at the knee, and opens up. You can stay here, or you can flip into wild thing if it's in your practice, or if you feel comfortable giving it a try. See if you can reach your hips a little higher. And whenever you're ready, shifting back to one-legged down dog. Inhaling deeply. Exhale, left knee crunches forward. Inhale, one-legged down dog. Exhale, knee comes forward. Inhale, one-legged down dog. One more time. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, open. Now exhale, step your foot all the way forward. Adjust as needed, walking your foot a little bit forward if you need. And sweep your arms and upper torso up. Oh. And inhaling deeply. With your left fingertips, you're going to reach and touch the back of your right thigh as you exhale. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twist and tap. Inhale, center. One more time. Full deep inhale. Exhale, fingertips come down. Step back into plank. Ashtanga or chaturanga down to the mat. Slide forward into cobra. Take a couple of breaths in cobra. Set your forehead on the mat. And push all the way back into child's pose. For this child's pose, you can separate your knees, or it might feel good to keep your knees together. That's more of a traditional child's pose. And then traditionally your hands would reach for your feet. But I think it feels good after those particular poses we did to keep my arms forward. but you can choose what feels best for you. Set your forehead on the mat and allow yourself to rest. If you need a drink of water at this point, you can definitely grab one. Stopping, pausing, checking in. Taking a nice deep breath in, making room for all the feelings, all the sensations within our bodies. Softening. What can you soften? What can you ease up on? What can you let go of? Before we get too comfy, come back to hands and knees. Maybe walk your hands a couple inches forward. Spread your hands wide, pressing to your hands evenly, not dumping the weight into your wrists. And we're coming back to down dog. So tuck your toes under, hips reach up. Maybe you notice as we loosen up, as we warm up, our heels reach closer towards the mat. Maybe you're a little more flexible than you were at the beginning. Inhale, up dog. Inhale, or exhale, down dog. Do that a couple more times. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. One more time. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, lift your right leg up. Bend at the knee and just step your foot forward with control. Now we are setting ourselves up for warrior. So I'd like you to take your right foot and walk it over a little towards the right side of your mat. Maybe take your left foot and walk it a little towards the left side of your mat. Now set your left heel down, and your toes are going to be at a diagonal on the back leg. The front foot, your toes are pointing forward. When you're ready, come on up, sweeping your torso up and arms up. Your hip bones should be facing forward. So if you feel like it's really difficult to face your hip bones forward, I recommend widening the space between your feet. It's like you're on two different railroad tracks, and just make those railroad tracks a little bit wider, and that will allow you to reach your hips forward. Now make sure you're not dumping the weight on the inner arch of your foot. Make sure the weight is distributed more so on that outer edge where your little pinky toes are. That should be where the weight is distributed on that back leg. It'll protect your knees and your feet. So your arms come up, your shoulders are down away from your ears. Make sure there's no deep sway in your back. Maybe gently scooping your pelvis forward to keep your back not super arched, but more neutral. Now open up. We're going to do a archer pose today. So you're going to take your right hand and make a thumbs up, and then you'll take your left hand and reach like you're reaching for an imaginary bow and pull back. Now this time, instead of your hips facing forward, of course, they come towards the side, not directly to the side like Warrior 2, not to the front like Warrior 1, but more at an angle. You're focusing on keeping your knee aligned over your heel, and you're pulling back through that left elbow. You're engaging the left shoulder blade. Gaze forward at your thumb. Take a couple more deep inhales and exhales. What are you aiming at? This is a powerful pose. What are you fighting for in your life? We're all warriors of something. Of course, peaceful, non-violent warriors, or still can be warriors without violence. Now, bringing your feet into one plane. So you'll readjust your front and or your back foot so they're in one railroad track now. Your feet of the back leg are still at an angle. The front foot is still facing forward. Reach your arms up, maybe sink a little bit deeper. Gaze over the front fingertips. Flip your palm up and lean back into reverse warrior. Selfie pose. So I've heard some people call it. If you're looking at your phone or gazing into a mirror, what reflects back when you look within? Right forearm comes to the right thigh. Left arms reach up and over. You can keep your fingertips straight up, or you can let them come at an angle, at a diagonal with your back leg. Neck is neutral, it's not hanging down, it's a neutral extension of your spine. And then take your left hand, bring it down, pivot up on your back toes now so your heel comes up. Right fingertips reach for the sky. Make sure you're breathing. Hand comes down to the mat. Now we're in a little lunge. Look at that. Inhale deeply. And exhale, step back into plank. Hold it for 3, 2, 1. And push back into down dog. Maybe walk your dog for a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, inhaling, reaching your left leg up. Exhale with control, bringing your left leg forward. Now remember, we're starting on 2 railroad tracks, so walk your left foot to the left, right foot to the right, and step your right foot down. When you're ready, inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Remember, the front toes are facing forward, right toes are facing at an angle. You're distributing the weight to the outer edge of that back leg. Now left arm comes forward, making a thumbs up. Reaching your right hand towards your left. Take that imaginary bow and pull back. Really imagine as if you are about to shoot at a target. You can envision what you're aiming for in life. Maybe what your goal is for today. Or it can maybe be more symbolic of something that you are trying to fight. Maybe trying to do away with in life. Do away with fear, hatred, ignorance. You make this pose what it means to you today. Now, shifting to warrior 2. Realign your feet in one straight line and bring your arms out to the sides. Ooh, feel it in my thigh. And flip your front hand up, lean back, reverse warrior. Left forearm will come to left thigh. Reach up with your right fingertips. Neck is an extension of your spine. Right hand comes down to the mat. Your toes tuck under, heel pivots up towards the ceiling, and your left fingertips will reach up towards the sky. Breathing. Hand will come back to the mat. Step back into plank. And one last time, either Ashtanga or Chaturanga, down to the mat. This time slide forward, and instead of doing cobra, take a crocodile pose. So let's just rest for a moment. You'll make a pillow with your hands and rest your cheek on your hands. Traditionally, your toes will come out to the sides and your heels will come in towards one another. If that doesn't feel good for your lower back, of course you can just keep the tops of your feet on the mat. Bring that opposite hand on top and just switch cheeks. This will allow you to get an even stretch in your neck. What can you let go of? What can you release? Sometimes when we're not fully conscious, without realizing it, we're holding on to tension, either physical or mental. Sometimes in yoga it really is physical. We just did some challenging poses where we did have to activate some muscles and tense up certain parts of our body to protect our muscles. It's a great function that our bodies have to protect us from injury. But oftentimes, without realizing it, we hold on to that tension even after the pose is over. So becoming aware of what your body's doing right now, where you might be holding tension, recognizing, allowing, and releasing. The breath can be a great tool to do that. Releasing and relaxing. Now we'll set ourselves up for both. So bend your knees. You'll start with your forehead or your mouth on the mat. And reach back for your feet, grabbing the tops of your feet with your hands. Now, even here, this might be challenging. Maybe you're not able to reach your feet today. That's okay. You can focus on doing one, if that's more accessible to you. Or if you can reach both, but you want to stay here, that's great. Breathe into where you feel the stretch. To go a little deeper, start by pushing your pelvis into the mat and lifting your knees just maybe an inch or two off the mat. You'll already start to feel those hip flexors engaging. And now continue to lift your knees off. Continue to press your pelvis into the mat, lifting your torso, head, shoulders, everything off the mat but your belly and pelvis. Your rib cage might be on the mat too, but you can think about lifting it by squeezing your shoulder blades together. Once again, don't guide yourself with your neck. Try not to crane your neck to lift you higher. Rather, use your back muscles. Breathing. And release. Just take a really brief crocodile. Switch sides, just get an even stretch in your neck. And once again, before we get too comfy, come on up to hands and knees. Hands walk a few inches forward and step back to down dog. Take a few more breaths here in down dog, and you might really notice that you feel a lot more flexible than you did when we started. Breathing into this will help you maintain this flexibility. So, like I said, our muscles often tense up in order to protect ourselves. which is really, really nice of them. But when we're reaching to gain more flexibility, it takes a little bit of time to allow our bodies to relax, to know we're safe, to learn our limits so we can relax and release some of that tension. Now, walking your feet forward one step at a time. Just feeling a nice stretch in the backs of your legs as you walk forward, coming into a forward fold. Feel free to bend your knees as much as you need to so that your torso can rest on your thighs. Deep breaths into your belly, allowing your spine to lengthen. Now take your hands and place them underneath your feet. So your palms are facing up and you're bending at the wrists and you're sliding your hands underneath your feet. Your toes are resting on your, like the base of your wrists. So this is creating a lock. Now you're kind of locked in place here. Please feel free to bend your knees as much as you need to. But because we are kind of glued in place, this will allow us to gently, maybe just a tiny little bit, straighten our legs, even further working on our flexibility. Breathing really deeply into your lower back. Anywhere you feel like could use a little extra lengthening, breathe into that place and imagine your breath is allowing you to lengthen. And as you exhale, allow yourself to fold forward a little bit more, a little deeper. And when you're ready, untuck your hands and very slowly roll up to a halfway lift. So your hands will rest on your thighs or your shins, depending on how tall you are or your body anatomy. Your back is like a tabletop. And so you're squeezing your shoulder blades together. You're not rounding, you're lifting. And continue now to roll up all the way to standing. If you find you feel a little dizzy or lightheaded, come back down to halfway lift or come to the ground. For some people with low blood pressure, standing up like that can be challenging and can make you feel a little dizzy. So please come to the ground or take a break if you need to. But wow, standing here in mountain probably feels very good. We haven't actually stood fully up on 2 feet yet this entire class. So why rush? Let's enjoy the moment. Standing here in mountain. Let your shoulders relax. Feel your feet making connection with the mat. Imagine as if there's little roots growing out of the soles of your feet, anchoring you and connecting you into the ground, into your mat. Feel the length that's happening in your legs, in your spine. Very, very gently allow your chin to tuck just a tiny bit, not a deep tuck. But by gently tucking your chin, you'll feel the back of your neck lengthen a little bit more. Continue to envision the left foot is anchoring into the mat. So your left foot is making contact with the mat. Those roots are growing out and anchoring you, allowing you to draw energy up from the earth while at the same time stay grounded. Coming into a tree pose, take your right foot and start by making a kickstand with your knee out to the right. To go a little further, you can bring your foot up to your shin. Please don't place your foot on your knee. So either shin, floor, or you can bring it all the way up to your inner thigh. Hands will come to prayer. Find a focal point. Maybe allow your vision to blur a little bit and allow yourself to go within. If you'd like to grow your branches up, you can. So find an expression that's meaningful to you. There's lots of options and variations of tree pose. You can bring your hands into a mudra, maybe lotus. So there's lots of different trees out there, lots of different options for you to take the form that means the most today. When you're ready, start by bringing your hands back to prayer and release your foot. Maybe shake that other foot out. So you don't need to wait for me if you want to come out sooner or you want to hold it a few extra breaths. This is your practice, and oftentimes, forcing ourselves to hold it, that's when we get injured. So if you are ready to come out, by all means, come out when you need to. Now envisioning in the same way with your right foot now. Your foot is grounding into the mat. Maybe you very gently shift forward and back, side to side, to feel your foot in connection with the ground. Envision those roots anchoring you into the earth. And coming into tree on the other side at your own pace, with the variation that you prefer today. You can keep your hands in prayer, or you can let your branches grow. And when you're ready, come out of it with control, the same way you went in. Feel free to march it out or shake your leg out. And coming to the back of your mat, so you have some room in front of you. We'll do another balancing pose. Some find this a little more challenging, so I'll give you a few different variations. One thing about doing yoga at home is that you probably have access to some more walls or chairs than we might have at the studio or at the temple. So by all means, if you feel like your balance is in need of some help today, feel free to use a wall or grab a chair. So I'll start by, once again, imagining you're anchoring your left foot into the earth. Let those roots grow out of the soles of your feet, connecting you with the earth. And then take your right leg, bend at the knee, and reach. I'll show you guys this way. Reach for the inside of your foot. So oftentimes we see people grabbing from the outside, which is fine, but it's going to make the pose more challenging. So grabbing from the inside. Kind of like you're like a waitress, and then you'll grab the foot like that. So you'll start here. Now first, just work on aligning your hips and your shoulders. So, we might be a little kind of twisted. So think about keeping your hips parallel with one another. Like if you were in front of a wall, your hips would be flat against the wall. Same thing with your shoulders. You might need to bring one shoulder back or readjust so they're even. Now your foot might be out to the side. Think about really bringing that foot behind your right hip bone, behind your right glute. So you'll feel your shoulder blades contracting as you bring your arm behind you. Mimic that with the left as well. So squeezing your shoulder blades together here. Now, if you want to take it a little further, you'll reach your left arm up and start to lean forward, kicking your leg up towards the sky. Try to keep your hips parallel with one another. And come on down when you're ready. Feel free to stay in that longer if you'd like. And trying that again on the other side. Anchoring your foot into the mat. Taking some time to allow it to connect. So maybe rocking side to side, maybe pressing that foot in. And finding the variation that feels right to you. Going at your own pace. So it can be tempting to kind of shift our bodies to the side, but try to keep your hips facing down towards the mat. If you come out of it, if you fall out, it's okay. Treat yourself with kindness. Try not to allow yourself to fall out because that's where there can be injury. So if you feel like you need to come out, just take a break and try again. Relax, coming on down when you're ready. Now we'll do a standing kind of flow using Warrior 3. And we've done this every time I've taught, I think. I think it's a great way to gain balance, gain strength in our legs and our core, and it's very meditative as well. So we will begin by inhaling, lifting your right leg, bending at the knee. Exhale, extend your leg. Inhale, shift that leg back into Warrior 3. Full deep inhale. Come on forward. Step down with control. Feel that foot connect with the mat. Inhale, the other side, the other leg comes up. Exhale, extend. Inhale, shifting back to Warrior 3. Exhale, that knee comes forward. And step with control in front. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And continue to flow with this movement, with this flow. And allow yourself to go further within. No preconceived ideas about how deep this pose should be or how it looks. Just enjoy. Finish up the side that you were working on. Now I have a challenge for you. So I was trying this, I've been trying this the past couple of days. I'm by no means great at it, so I apologize if it's not the most graceful demonstration. But we'll see if we can add on I believe it's the half moon pose into this balancing flow. So if you are not comfortable doing this, if you just feel like it's not safe for you right now, feel free to continue with the flow we were just doing. If you want to challenge yourself, challenge your balance a lot, you'll begin by inhaling, lifting your knee, exhaling, extending, inhaling, and extending into warrior 3. Now set your hands down with your leg extended, and left hand will stay on the mat, right arm will reach up. Breathing, open your chest up. Hands come back to the mat. And now this is the tricky part. See if you can reach your arms back up, back up to warrior 3. Woo! And hopefully you did that more gracefully than I did. And finish the flow. Inhale, exhale. All right, we'll try that on the other side. Inhale, exhale, extend. Inhale, exhale, and warrior 3. Hands come down to the mat. Now your right fingertips stay in contact with the mat as your left fingertips reach up into, I think, half moon, right? I hope I'm correct here. Hands come back down to the mat. Now the tricky part is lifting back up to warrior 3. And knee comes forward and step down. So once again, rested mountain. If you want to try that one more time on each side, feel free. That's a great challenge for your core and your balance. So I think that's one I'll start trying a couple times a week. One of the great things about yoga classes is, sometimes we get stuck in our yoga rut, which is great to have a practice that we go to, something that's comfortable and that we know and that feels good to our bodies. So mixing it up is great. We could be really, really strong in certain ways, and then we'll try a pose that someone suggested. It's like, wow, I didn't even know I had muscles there. So we're always learning, we're always growing. Bring your feet wide. And this is a time where you might want to block. We are pretty warmed up and loosened up now though, so you might be more flexible than you think. But if you have a block, you might want to keep it handy in front of you just in case. So you're coming to a wide-legged stance. Your feet are facing forwards, but don't force them straight forwards. They might be at a slight angle. Hands on your hips, and start to hinge forward. Hands come down to the ground or onto your mat or a block. And maybe you feel now that once you're in this wide-legged forward fold, maybe you want to step your feet even further apart. Feel a deeper stretch in the inner thighs. So feel free to go a little bit lower down if you'd like. If you're feeling really flexible, you might be able to set your forearms down on the mat. And let your head release. So let the top of your head hang towards the mat. It's like a rag doll with your upper torso, so you're totally releasing, totally relaxing, letting go. Make sure you're breathing. If you're on your forearms, come on back to your hands. And now you'll straighten your spine. So we were totally released and relaxed. Now just bring your spine back into a straight line and start to walk your hands towards the right foot. Breathing. And walk your hands towards the other side. You don't have to touch your foot, you're just walking in that direction. So if it feels really painful on your knee, just ease back. Hands come back to the center. Now shifting to tiger. You're gonna bend one knee, so the right knee for me, and crouch down with your toes, crouch down on your toes. So your heel will likely be off the ground. If you have very flexible ankles, your heel may be on the ground, and that's fine. But for most of us, the heel doesn't reach the mat. Your toes are off the mat on the left side. This is like a tiger pose, so it's like your tail. You can bring your hands to prayer. And then shifting sides, walking your hands to the other side. Toes reach up. Toes of the right leg reach up. Hands to prayer. Now, if you want to, you can try to do that without using your hands. Feel free to use your hands, though, if you'd like, if that's what where you'd like to work today. Try to keep your chest nice and open. Try not to collapse. And flow a few more times. You can also use a block. So it's kind of nice. You can use it as like a little launching pad. You can push off with the block and land on the block. So that's a really nice variation. A couple more times. Okay. Now walk your hands back to center. Maybe once again release just for a breath or two. Feels so good. Feel free to sway side to side. This is like a wide-legged rag doll. Coming halfway up, heel toe your feet together until they're about hip width apart. And then roll up to standing. Check the time. Perfect. Coming to the front of your mat. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, bend back. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, hinge forward. Folding down, hands touch the mat, and you can hop or walk your feet back to plank. Hold plank, and we'll just take a side plank. just briefly. So you're shifting onto one hand and one foot. Arm will reach up towards the sky. If you'd like, you can set your bottom knee down as a kickstand for support. Coming to regular plank and trying that on the other side. Really think about lifting your hips even higher. Coming back to plank. Set your knees down. Walk back into the hero's pose. And if you can actually tuck your toes under and just shift back into a seated position. So however you'd like to try that, make your way into a seated position with the soles of your feet on the mat. Walk your feet really close towards your body. Wrap your arms around your legs and set your forehead on your chest. Give yourself a big hug. This really is allowing you to go within. You're physically, literally folding into yourself here, enveloping yourself in a big hug. Taking 3 deep breaths here. Even though your thighs are pressing into your belly, if you use that as kind of a little bit of a pressure on your belly as you breathe in, that's stimulating digestion, it's massaging your internal organs. So go with it. Take a deep breath in and feel that pressure pushing into your belly. It shouldn't hurt, it should just be a gentle pressure. And when you're ready, release the hug, extend your legs, and come all the way down to the mat. All the way down to your back. And again, no need to rush into the next pose. Allow yourself to feel your back settling and resting into the earth. Sometimes it can help to align your spine by lifting your head and shoulders off the mat. Look at your toes, and then lay back down. Bend your left knee, walking your foot as close to your sit bone, your left sit bone as you can. And then take your right ankle and rest it on the top of your left thigh. So making like a triangle shape with your legs, setting ourselves up for a supine pigeon. If this is all you want to work at today, that's totally fine. If you feel the stretch here, you can stay here. You can take the heel of your hand and place it right in that crease where the right leg meets the right hip bone. Place the heel of your hand in that crease and push away, feeling your hip open up. If you want to go a little deeper, reach for your left thigh and bring it in towards your body, interlacing your hands behind your left thigh. Make sure your back is glued into the mat, so make sure all parts of your back are stabilized, pressing into the mat. Sometimes it feels good to rock side to side in supine pigeon, so feel free to rock a little bit if you'd like, or of course you can be still and just breathe. Some people prefer to extend that leg. I prefer to keep it bent, but you can see what feels best to you. And with control, release your hands, set your foot down, and slowly switch sides. It's really nice to start by just taking the heel of your hand, placing it in that hip crease, and just gently pressing out and away, just opening up. And when you're ready, if you want to take it further, reach for your right thigh, interlacing your hands behind. And being gentle with yourself. So you're applying gentle pressure, never forcing or really tugging at your leg. Sometimes, often, even just the breath allows you to go deeper into the pose. So where you are right now, take a deep inhale in. Feel your back pressing into the mat. Exhale, maybe your thigh just comes a millimeter closer to your torso. And release when you're ready. Walk your feet, once again, both of them close to your sit bones now. Press your palms into the mat at your sides. And taking a couple of inhales and exhales here. And on an inhale, lift your hips up. Head and neck stay on the mat. Try not to move your head or neck in this pose, so try to just stay looking straight up. So if you need to look at the screen or a mirror, come down, look, and then go into the pose. If you want to go deeper, you can walk your shoulder blades together, coming up onto your triceps, and interlace your fingers. This will allow you to open up even deeper, reach your hips further towards the sky. Really puff up your belly as you inhale, reaching your belly and hips and pelvis towards the sky. One more deep inhale. How high can you reach? And as you exhale, start to release your shoulders, shoulder blades, down to the mat, and then roll down one vertebrae at a time. See how slowly you can go. Before you get to the tailbone, I like to lift my heels off the mat, so I'm just on my toes. This sort of scoops the tailbone up, so then when you set it down, it's really long and lengthened. Extend your left leg all the way out to the mat and hug your right knee in. Make some circles with your ankle, going in one direction and then the other. And then let your foot be still and just hug your knee in and to the right. So you're reaching your knee kind of towards your right armpit. Like I said armpit so many times in this class. I don't even know what the scientific word for that part of your body is. Take your right knee in your right hand and open that knee out to the right side. So you're opening up, feeling a nice opening stretch in your inner groin. Left hand will come out to the left, palm facing up. And let your right foot rest on the mat. Even if your right knee doesn't reach the ground, just let that leg relax as much as possible. Just applying a gentle, very gentle pressure with your right hand on that inner knee, just prying it open gently. Deep inhale in, exhale, relax. Now with control, bring your knee back up to center, squeeze it in again. Now take your knee in your left hand, open your right arm out to the side, and bring your right knee to the left side into a twist. Keep your right shoulder blade on the ground. So if your knee doesn't touch the ground, that's no problem. You can use a block. So you can just place that block underneath your knee, or you can use a bolster or some blankets. And that's not necessary. You can just let that leg hang out. But feel free to place something underneath if that feels better. You can bring your gaze out over your right fingertips. And I invite you to, once again, check in with your body. Notice anywhere you might be holding tension. What can you release? What can you let soften, melt? Two more deep inhales and exhales. And on an inhale, taking your hand, guiding your knee back up to the center. Let your leg extend now. Sole of your foot reaches towards the ceiling, towards the sky. If it feels better here, you can bend that other leg if this is challenging on your lower back. Taking a few breaths here, reaching out through your heel, flex your foot for a greater stretch. You can hold on with your hands or choose not to. One more really deep inhale, push out through your heel, lengthening your leg. And as you exhale, lower it down, nice and slow and controlled. Noticing how your body is feeling now. And setting yourself up on the other side. So hug your left knee into your chest. You can start by making some ankle circles, just making big circles with your toes in one direction and then the other. And then let your ankle be still and bring your knee in and towards the left armpit. And take your left knee in your left hand, open it out to the left side. Right arm comes to the right, palm facing up. Just applying some very gentle pressure, just gently opening up that left hip, feeling a stretch in the inner groin. And bring your knee back up to center. Take your left knee in your right hand, open your left arm out to the side, palm facing up, and bring that knee all the way over to the right side. You can bring your gaze over to the left fingertips if you'd like, or you can keep your gaze straight up at the ceiling. And again, feel free to place a block or a bolster underneath your knee if it feels it needs it. Two more deep inhales and exhales. What can you release? What can you soften? Knee comes back to the center with control, and then extend your left leg straight with the sole of your foot reaching towards the sky. Work on flexing your foot, and if this is challenging on your lower back, you can bend your right knee so the sole of that foot touches the mat. You can also grasp onto the yoga mat with your hands, and this will help you kind of brace your lower back into the mat. One more deep inhale, lengthening, reaching out through the heel. And exhale, lower your leg down to the ground. One last stretch before we take Shavasana. Take your knees and bend them, once again placing the soles of your feet on the mat, and now widen your feet apart. So they should be even a tiny bit wider than mat width apart. So pretty wide. Now take your hands and bring them up overhead, bending at the elbows, resting your arms on the mat overhead, taking your left elbow in your right hand, right elbow in your left hand. Take a deep inhale in. Exhale, lower your right knee down to the middle. So you can do this way if anyone doesn't really get what I'm saying. So you'll exhale, lower your left knee, right knee down. Inhale, back up, full deep inhale, and then exhale, lower the other knee down to center. And notice how my opposite, and so continue to breathe and flow. Notice how my opposite leg also kind of opens up. So that'll happen, and it'll feel really good. Allow that to happen. And you'll also feel, of course, that stretch in the side where the knees going down to center. You'll feel it in your hip flexor, all through your thigh. So this is going to feel really good on your lower back, most likely. It's a very, very gentle back bend in your upper body because your arms are overhead. Just a great way to wind down. Finish up so you're even on both sides. And then set yourself up for the final relaxation pose, the Shavasana. If you don't have many props, the traditional Shavasana is legs extended, heels in, toes out. Think about opening your feet up like a book. And your hands will rest at your sides, palms facing up. Not very close to your sides, but should feel like no effort, just totally relaxing. If this is stressful on your lower back, bend your knees, soles of your feet touch the mat, knees come together. This will ground your back and it should feel very good. Another option for your hands is to place one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart, or both hands on your belly. This is good if you're feeling maybe a little vulnerable, very open like this, and you just want a little more protection, a little more comfort. Placing your hands on your body can help provide that. Now, if you have props, I recommend them. A bolster is great under your knees, and a neck roll, a rolled up blanket, or even just a bed pillow is great under your neck. Feel free to cover yourself with a blanket. Take your time to get really comfortable. Once you're in your comfortable position for Shavasana, take one final scan of your body and feel free to go over that RAIN process that we discussed at the beginning of pausing, recognizing, allowing, investigating, and finally ending in a neutral awareness or a state of non-attachment. Notice where you might be holding on to any residual tension from the physical asanas. And see if you can allow yourself to release, relax. Let your muscles melt away from the bones that they're attached to. In Shavasana, you don't need to use your muscles. You can completely let go. Give yourself permission to completely let go of your thinking as well. Allow yourself this break to get off that running wild horse and be still. Know that thoughts are part of human existence, and throughout meditation and Shavasana, thoughts will arise. That's normal. The objective is to become aware when that's happening and not dwell on them. Release them, let them go, and allow yourself once again to relax into a state of just being, without anything else, without any other attachments. You can envision your thoughts as clouds passing over a beautiful blue sky. If a cloud does pass every so often, just acknowledge it briefly and then let it float away and redirect your attention to that clear blue, unmoving sky. invite you to bring your attention to something or someone that has touched you and helped you feel some gratitude, that you feel gratitude for this week. So something or someone, or maybe more of a I think of the word I'm looking for, less physical thing, but maybe an event or an idea, anything that you feel gratitude to. And I'd like you to meditate on that feeling. So not necessarily the object or the person that made you feel grateful or that you're grateful for, but the feeling that it brings within your body. And let your body become a vessel for this gratitude. And as you continue to meditate on the feeling of gratitude, the physical sensations that it brings in your body, let your body continue to fill with this feeling of gratitude. You might feel it in your heart. Maybe you feel your heart kind of swell, or little bit butterflies fluttering around. Or maybe a smile comes to your mouth, or softly to your eyes. And as you continue to feel so full of gratitude, filling yourself up, imagine that feeling of love and appreciation and gratitude is overflowing. It's spilling out to those around you. You can project that feeling of love and thankfulness to others who aren't physically near you. Envision you're radiating that beautiful love and gratitude out to anywhere that you would like. Anyone in your life that you would like to share that feeling with. And slowly roll over onto one side, keeping this feeling of love and gratitude with you. As you roll over into a fetal position, remind yourself that you can keep this feeling with you, and you can return to it throughout your day, throughout your week, sharing it with those around you, sharing it with yourself, letting it ground you when you find your mind racing. Come back to this calm feeling of love and gratefulness. And slowly push yourself up to a seated position. Tucking your chin, bowing down to yourself. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all creatures everywhere be happy. Thank you so much for doing yoga today. I hope you have an enjoyable rest of your weekend. Namaste.